right. Hope everybody enjoyed the first course. It's great to see so many familiar faces here tonight. As Brittany mentioned, this is our first gathering of the year for the LRA Baton Rouge Chapter, and it's a meaningful one for me personally as I stepped into my second year as serving as chapter president. Thank you. Over the past year, I've been incredibly proud of the work accomplished by our board of directors, not just through their leadership, but also through the engagement and support of our members. Together, we've hosted a successful golf tournament, a Pro Start-focused luncheon, and Oktoberfest, all of which reflect what's possible when our industry comes together with a shared purpose. What continues to stand out to me is how much stronger our industry becomes through partnership and participation. The relationships built through this chapter between operators, partners, and advocates truly make a difference in how we support one another and move forward together. That's why I'm especially excited about tonight's format. We're going to do things a little different tonight. We're fortunate enough to have with us leaders who serve not only at the chapter level, but also at the state level, individuals who understand the challenges of our industry and who are deeply committed to supporting operators across Louisiana. We're especially honored to welcome Octavio Mantilla, our 2026 LRA State Chair. To help guide us through this panel conversation tonight, we've enlisted our resident interviewer. You've probably seen him at some of the events in the showcase and other places. He's always got a camera and a microphone in your face. JP Ngo of Our Mom's Restaurant. And just to be clear, I'm not responsible for anything that's said during that portion of the program. With that, JP, the microphone is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you. First off, thank you guys for coming tonight. This night is about you guys, and I want you guys to get a lot out of it. So if you guys have any questions for these people, please ask them, right? Flag me down, text me, I don't care. Throw something at me, throw this bread, I'll eat it, it's fine. But I want to make sure that you guys get to ask them a lot of questions between this whole group of people that you're about to see on this panel. So much knowledge, so much passion. If you hear Stan talk, check 1, 2. That was me? Nice. I'm good, yeah. Oh, like my favorite part, listening to this man talk will jazz you up, right? I told Brittany that after the leadership conference. I didn't tell you that because I didn't want to blow up your head, but it was an amazing time listening to you guys talk about how much you love this industry and why you do what you do. So, if you guys haven't met me yet, I'm JP, own Our Mom's, 2 locations, Baton Rouge, Hammond. The reason I joined the LRA is because I needed a group, a tribe, a community. It was right after COVID, and I felt very alone. I should probably not walk this way. Maybe that's where the interference is coming from. So, luckily, I found this group of people. I was just telling Jay just now, every single person that is a member.
Here.
Is that?
Here, go, just do this.
I'll just take that.
Yeah.
It's our first time, guys. Throw my flow off, man. Where was I? Yeah. Felt lonely, joined the LRA, met these people. 2 years later, I love these guys, right? If I have a problem, I call them. If I have good news, I call them. They celebrate with me, they complain with me, they give me advice, they give me reassurance. I love it, right? There's so much that I've gotten out of here, and enough about me, because this is not about speeches and it's not about boring stats. It's not about policy things. We can talk about all that later. Tonight, I want you guys to ask them questions and to meet these guys. First off, we have Octavio Mantilla, right? We have, yeah, now you can come, yeah. You can have any seat you want. Pick of the litter. 2026 incoming state chair. He'll tell you more about himself later. Next, we have Mr. Mark Ladder, amazing gentleman right here. Awesome. He is the 2025 state chair, And I'm sure he's going to tell us a lot about his experiences over the last year and how that impacts all of us. And honestly, I want to know more about it. We have Stan Harris. Bro, come on up. You already know Stan, president, CEO, man that makes this machine run, right? He'll tell you more about what he does too. And then the other two people that we have Brad Watts, El Presidente, Baton Rouge Chapter. We have Megan Klock, Vice El Presidente, part of the Ruffino's family, right? So, all right. So now that we've introduced everybody, let's get to it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to give you a little history about these guys. I'm going to give them a chance to kind of briefly explain who they are, what they do, why they got into this industry, and why they were crazy enough to stay in this industry. We'll start with you, Octavio.
Jesus, that's kind of hard. I started in the industry because I had no other where to be at. So I was 16 years old. I came to this country as a 14-year-old kid and started working in restaurants, and I loved it. Went to Tulane, graduated in computer science, by the way, not in anything else. And then I went to get my master's in finance, but at the same time, I was always working in the restaurants. And after going to school and working in the industry in every restaurant in the city, probably, one day the light bulb hit. And it's like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. And I made that choice one day after I got my master's, and I said, ever since then, it's been like the best thing ever. I knew I wanted to love people. I knew I wanted to care about people. I knew that my gift was in making sure people were enjoying themselves. We're entertainers. That's what we are, totally. Yeah, we got to provide good food and good service, but we're entertainers. So the second I made that decision, it changed my entire life. And I've been in this industry since 16. I worked for Caesars Entertainment. I opened every restaurant in the country for them. I went in business with John Bash when the two of us were just kids, and we bought our first restaurant August. Then it went from there, and we haven't been scared. We've been loving. We're just opened Delacroix on the river, the only restaurant in New Orleans on the Mississippi River, which is awesome. Now we're opening 2 restaurants in Covington, and we're still loving what we do, because what we do change people's life, not only for the staff, but for the people that are coming to our restaurants every single day to enjoy every single minute. And that's what we do. We're entertainers.
Wow, that's an amazing reason to do what you do. I think a lot of people in this room share the same sentiment as you. Mark, dude, what you got?
I'm not following that. So I grew up in the business. My dad bought 2 Jacks 1982, hung out in the bar, made all-star baseball team at 11, and my dad said,
Are you going to throw any roll tide out right now?
No roll tide.
High tide.
I grew up in the business as
We
well.
don't get many chances to throw that shade on Alabama, so we did.
Wow. Second round of the playoffs, but I don't think LSU's made the playoffs since.
Hey.
Hitler was.
Let's get back on top.
You brought since pre-COVID. That's a long time ago. No, so I grew up in the business as well. Washed dishes, had done everything from 11 years old on. Went to University of Alabama.
I think we mentioned that.
I actually graduated with a finance degree, started interviewing for jobs, and I was like, one, I can't sit still, and 2, I don't want to sell, and finance is selling. So started working for Ralph Brennan, and then I've pretty much worked in the industry since then. Took over 2 Jacks and have opened some other restaurants as well. I don't know about entertaining. I'm not as funny and charismatic as Octavio, but I think everyone in the room can agree we all love what we do. We do make people happy for the most part, except some New Year's Eves. But It's what we all love. I want to talk to people all day. I want to talk about food and beverage. I don't want to sit at a desk on a computer. So it is what we know as well. Stan?
So my morning started today with getting a text from Mark that said, "It's Mark Ladder, your chair from last year. And I need your help on something." I'm like, happy to do it. And I sent back and I said, "New phone, who dis?" But it was good. I much like a lot of people in this room, you start really young. I was child labor. My grandmother was the resident manager and housekeeper for the Pontchartrain Hotel in New Orleans, where Jack Rose is. And I had a great job. I was working in the laundry, made $1.10 an hour. It was really nice. I didn't realize I was the only one that looked like me in there. It was kind of interesting. Then I got a job working at Ralph & Cacoo's, washing dishes, mainly breaking them, because they didn't tell me they couldn't put the steel platters in with the stemware. But that was something I learned the second day. But they told me that I could order anything off the menu that wasn't a steak. And I'm going like, what? And they go, yeah, it's free. I'm like, you had me at hello. I mean, what an opportunity. And then from there, my next job was working at the Fleur de Lis pizza place on Government Street. And Miss Lola paid us $10 an hour to bartend, which I thought was absolutely like robbing a bank. I'm like, this is the greatest thing in the world, because I figured on top of the tips that we would make there, and then I realized with the tight people that came there, the biggest day I ever had when tips was $8. So, because it was the same people, and they were drinking Matus and Lancers, Schlitz, Falstaff. I'm dating myself. It's really bad stuff. But then I got into the bigger part of the hospitality industry, and we built out restaurants in 11 states and built a company and sold it, made some money. It was fun. But the key with all this, the concept is the same. It's treating people the way you expect to be treated. And it's the ability to watch people smile, and you share the happiest moments of their life. And I can always tell when a restaurant's making money because it's loud as hell in there and people are having a fun time. So that's the part of this that drives me today, is to help create, when people ask us, what do we do in advocacy? We always do it to try to create an environment where people can predictably build a business and make a living. And that's what we're trying to do.
I don't make this sound like some wild tale, but when I graduated high school, my dad said to me, and people who know my dad will say, I'm sure he said this to you, you're going to hate me for something now, but you'll love me for it down the road. Go find a way to get through college. I'm not paying for it. So at the time, Maison Blanche in downtown Baton Rouge had a tuition assistance program where if you made certain grades and you went to school for certain hours, they'd pay for your tuition. Sternbergs were lovely people. A friend of mine came in one day and asked me if I could get him a discount on a watch, and I lost that wonderful job and the money that went along with it. So I needed some money quick, so I started bartending. And I was bartending at a place called the Colonel's Club. It was owned by a guy named Kenny Sexton, and he was a maniac, God rest his soul. And I worked there for about 2 or 3 weeks, and some friends of mine came over to visit me in between shifts. They were waiting tables at Jubin's. And they said, hey, we're looking for a bartender. And I've never done, this is the only time I ever did this in my life. I quit on the spot and ran to Jubin's. And little did I know I was going to work for a bigger maniac, Kenny LaCour and Glenn Jubin. But I loved them to death, and I was there for a very long time. I find that sometimes life isn't about decisions that you make, it's about circumstances. And so I kind of got in this industry, I think, because of circumstances, not because of choices I've made. And I've tried to be a regular person several times, and it hasn't worked out. Yeah, it hasn't worked out very well. So I run back to the restaurant industry and bar industry, and I love it. I know it doesn't seem like I love it. But that's me. That's my personality. I'm an acquired taste. You have to, you have to get to know me before.
My favorite is when people ask me, is he for real?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's real.
Well, Stan's saying that because I sat in the interview for the state board and I said, if you're looking for a guy to go along with all y'all, I'm not your guy. And they appreciate.
Unanimously, they said, we like him.
Yeah, so here I am. But I love what I do, and this is a special group of people. Not only on the restaurant and bar side, but our vendors and the people who service our bars and restaurants. It's a very important part of this whole picture. So.
Okay, I'll try to make this brief because we all know I can talk a lot. I got my mom was in the clothing business, my dad was in the restaurant business. My dad was with Chart House Steakhouse. It was self-service restaurant group to start. My parents used to drop me off at the bar at Chart House in the Quarter, and the bartenders would babysit me while my mom and dad roamed the Quarter. Yes, by the cathedral. So that was my introduction to the restaurant business. Anyway, I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted to go down the clothing path with my mom. My big dream was to be in New York and all this. I got my first job at 13, worked for my dad at Beverly Hills Ice Cream and Candies here in Baton Rouge. Drove from Lafayette to Baton Rouge 3 days a week. I got paid half minimum wage. Minimum wage at the time was $3.25. My dad sat down with the manager one day to talk about raises, and the manager said to my dad, "You should be ashamed of yourself. Your daughter works harder than anyone else. She deserves a raise." And he said, "Okay, you can pay her minimum wage." It's probably the largest increase I've ever gotten in my career, 50%. I was getting paid $3.25 an hour. My parents did much like Brad did. My dad said, "You got to figure out how you're going to go to college." So I started waiting on tables at Chili's in Lafayette, and my dad said, "You need to look at your section like your own business and treat it like your own business. And what you put into it, you'll get out of it. Don't pay attention to the 13 an hour. Pay attention to the tips you get. And if your tips are crappy, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing." Well, I fell in love with it. But it also wasn't my career choice. And when I graduated from college, all my friends were going back to school because they couldn't find jobs. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going back to school. So Bruce Attinger from Outback Steakhouse hired me, and that's what started my journey. And it was phenomenal. I couldn't pay for that education. The impact that we have on people's lives is what feeds my soul every day, even if it's just that one person. I got out of the business. I've been married for 25 years, 3 kids. My kids traveled with me everywhere with work, all over the country, which was pretty phenomenal that I had the opportunity to do that. But I got out of the business for 2 years, 18 months, and John came to me and said, "Will you please go back? Because you're not good for yourself. And when you're not good for yourself, you're not good for me, you're not good for the kids, and you're not good for anything else." So I got back and became Bruce Attinger's partner with Grub, and then Ruffino's landed in my lap. And as my dad said before he passed away, "You worked your entire career to get to Ruffino's, and this is where you're gonna land and stay." It's amazing, it feeds my soul. We talk about buckets being emptied by people and buckets needing to be filled. My bucket is filled every day when I come to work, and that's a great blessing that I wake up every morning and say a prayer thanks for.
Wow. I love hearing these stories.
I got pretty serious there, didn't I, JP?
I love it. I love it, though. I love it. I love your stories because it all kind of centers around why I don't think anyone chose this path, but as soon as we got into it, we realized there's really nothing else that we'd rather do. And I guess, does anyone have any questions for Octavio? We'll start with this man. Anybody? Do you? Anybody? No? This finger pointing's not working? All right, I'll ask the first question. All right. The last time I saw you, I love the fact that you talked about being an entertainer and the passion that you had when you were talking about all the things that you do. But more importantly, I think you were talking about things that happen that the LRA helps the members with in real time. I remember the words real time, and I didn't think about that a lot until recently. But what are some things that the LRA does in real time that affects these members in here that they need to know about?
I think the Baton Rouge chapter probably is the best chapter to actually say that, because you guys talk to each member, text each other, you have a group, and whenever you need some help, you reach out to each other. LRA, it's amazing because we are all in the same industry. We're competitors, but we support each other. Bad times, good times. COVID, for example, you needed to, I call Stan, I call Greg Reggio, I call Tony Abbott, I call Ralph Brennan, I call everybody, and we all support each other. That's what the LRA is about. The LRA is about supporting all of us together. And I think, to be honest, we go to meetings and we're very proud of the Baton Rouge chapter because we in New Orleans say, hey, Baton Rouge, what you guys are doing is amazing. I want to learn from that. I think that that is what it is to be a part of the LRA. When you need support, it's there through the staff, through the members. That is amazing. When stuff is going hard and you can pick up the phone and say, hey, what do you think about this? What are you doing about this? They're there. And that is the LRA.
I like that, man. You're absolutely correct. I always heard about how like everyone talks about the Baton Rouge chapter and how awesome we are, and I just thought they were just trying to fluff us up, right? But at the leadership conference, they really do. Like they just talk about what we do, how it's so unique, and they're trying to replicate it. But I was trying to think about how we do it, and I don't know how we do it, right? Like there's so many people in this room that I don't know. It's a combination of everybody, right? People who are members, people who are on the board, right? Stephen Hightower, I have a question I call this dude, right? I found Patrick Foy through the LRA, right? I found a lot of good friendships and I found a lot of people who care, right? And that's why I love it. And you're right, in real time, it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. Because then you feel like I'm not doing something that wrong, right? Yeah. So, does anybody have anything else for Octavio? Anybody? No? All right, cool. All right, next, Mr. Mark Latter. You are the state chair for 2025. I'm sure you learned a lot during the last year. Can you share with us some of the things that you've learned? And then I have a follow-up question after that. Like, how did it affect you personally, professionally?
First of all, when you go to the Baton Rouge chapter with Friday tonight, don't roll tide the group. I may have done that, got a cold response. Second of all, when you go to Washington, D.C., which hopefully everybody goes this year, don't stay at the frat house where the Baton Rouge folks stay.
I think that's where everybody should stay.
That's where everybody should stay.
No, chair was a great year. And as Octavio said, the Baton Rouge chapters adopted Chris and I. We go to the golf tournament, we come to all the events, a lot of the events that we can. The group here is our industry is all about relationships. And honestly, the group here has the closest relationships with each other. Our chapter in New Orleans is bigger, and then the other chapters across the state are smaller, but there's a bond here in Baton Rouge that is just, you don't have anywhere else in the state. And so leaning on each other, and if you call Stan like I did today, because in New Orleans our one-stop shop is 15 stops before you one stop, or if it's calling Pam, or if it's a workman's comp call, it's one call, and like Morris Bart says, but it honestly is.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. That's his new thing. But having a relationship with everybody in here, Katie with Loop, I might have messed up our linen order on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. Called her, and they literally brought it to us. And if I didn't have a relationship with her, that wouldn't have happened, right? If a customer that never talks to her or never communicates with her, that's not going to happen. So just the relationship of everyone in the room, everyone in the state, and we all lean on each other. It's amazing, especially in New Orleans, because if you run out of ice machine goes down, which is only on busy nights, never on the slow nights. You go to Dickey's and Tableau, they have ice, they have linen. It's almost like
your stock room.
It is like our stock room. But it's a relationship.
I love that. I do have a follow-up question about the chair stuff, but I'm glad that you brought up the vendor part of it, because we always think about LRA being restaurant owners or operators, but the vendors that are a part of this group are amazing people as well. The reason I was telling Jay about that, the reason why I do business with a lot of the people in this room is because they care about me. If I have a problem, I call them, they help me fix it. They treat it as if it's their crisis, right? So thank you guys for all the things that you do. Second question for you.
Right?
It is.
It's a partnership.
It is.
That we're not who we are without all of them.
Mm-hmm. So my follow-up question is more for Octavio, but it's for you. He's about to step into your role that you did last year. Can you kind of prep him on the things that he can expect and the things that you took away from it?
Oh, the reason he's here is because I asked him to be here. and
Safety blanket.
he happily said, I'll be there for you.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, he's my New Orleans brother, so I have to agree with him. But we do love the Baton Rouge chapter. Now, as I traveled across the state, it was great to meet. And again, it's Class A or Class B. If you're a vendor, beer, restaurant, and this sounds cheesy, we can all learn from each other. And again, I go back to the relationships. And knowing somebody in Lafayette, great example, is a friend of mine's high school football team drove to Shreveport for their state playoff game. They stopped at Scott's Place in Alexandria, Diamond Grill. A friend of mine's son's birthday, and because I knew Scott from the LRA, this is a weird example, they embarrassed him in front of the entire football team. And Scott sent a video, and he was happy to do it, and he got his team on board. It's just working, and that's a weird example, and Stan's like rolling his eyes at me.
They did get creamed in Shreveport.
I think that Country Day lost by like 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw the score.
You saw the score.
They won. Calvary Baptist did win state, but again, I go back to relationships. Knowing Scott, Scott made sure that since I knew the group that was coming, he made sure they got well taken care of. If they needed something, we can look around the room, and I don't feel bad about calling anyone in the room and asking them for help.
That's a fact.
Not a favor, but for help. And we all need help. It's a challenging industry, and there can't be a better room, another industry that can help each other as much as we do.
I 100% agree with you. Wow, that was awesome. We lean on each other so much. I know I lean on them. I know they call me when they have problems. I know they call. Honestly, like, the town is so small that when people apply for jobs, they don't realize that we can find out everything we need to with one text message, right? This is what this group is really good about too, right? Like, everyone looks great on a resume.
That criminal?
Huh?
That criminal?
Not eligible for rehire.
Yes, exactly. It's usually in the text, it's like, hey, I'll call you. And I was like, all right, dude, no paper trail. I get it. Yeah.
How quick did you get to go boxes on like Christmas Eve?
Oh, that was
Oh.
amazing.
Dude,
That was
yeah.
amazing.
All right, so on Christmas Eve, she called and she needed boxes.
No. I sent a text.
Oh, it wasn't even a call. She sent a text immediately. Peter Sclafani was like, dude, I got you. Drove
and
it
he
over.
delivered them.
That was
and he delivered
fast.
them.
That was awesome. Mr. Hightower, here's a microphone for you. I'm not ambushing you this time, right?
I just want to make one comment. Mark, Octavio, Chris, Steve, they've continued, we're talking about Baton Rouge, but it is this continued sharing of ideas, but these guys committed to coming down to our events. I've tried to get down to some of theirs for sure. I know we've got other people in this room that have been to the G&O tournament. It's this continued turbine of energy that brings us all together. And what you said, Mark, is spot on. Like, I can call Alexandria, I can call Scott up there, I can call somebody. I met the guy from Jack's Barbecue up in Monroe. I've been able to, Tracy, I believe, I can call him. I've got him in my phone. That's the beauty of the network. And you can learn so much from each and every one of us. It's not just about our chapter. I'm very excited that we've built this, and Brad has really taking to driving into our momentum. But at the end of the day, this is a statewide organization, and I don't want anybody to forget the leadership from New Orleans drives it, but this is this collective turbine of energy, and we got to continue to promote what we do. So, sorry.
Dude, don't be sorry. That was awesome. All right. Thank you guys for that. Stan, your turn, man. I got a question for you, but it's more for the members than it is for anything else, because before I met you guys and we went and did the leadership thing, I truly didn't really understand what the LRA did behind the scenes. I was like the Office Depot card. That was it, right?
Those are the major things.
Yeah,
yes.
right? But after hearing you guys talk, I didn't realize that the 16 to 17, like the let's not call them underage workers, but like the
Minor
the
employees.
minors, that's it. That's probably a way better word for it. Minors, yes.
There is a legal definition.
Yeah. Someone called HR.
Sub 18.
Yeah. I know. How crazy is that? No, not today. Not today. I just started on Monday, so I can't break it today. But there was so many things that y'all talked about that I didn't realize. Can you kind of tell everybody in this room, as members, what the LRA does behind the scenes that's so important for them? Because they don't see a lot of this.
About 90% of what we do, you don't see, but if we didn't do it, you would feel it.
Yes.
And the thing that we talk about, and Pam's been with us since she was, 11 years old, she joined? Nine. I'm sorry, it was 9. But we have people on our team that I have such an amazing trust for and their passion for it. Pam and Wendy and Will and Jonathan and our team, they really care about what they're doing every day. And they want, my motto in business is try to find a way to make it better every day. We just want to try to make it better. But a lot of what we do is we sell something that you can't wear, you can't consume, you can't look at, you can't put it up on a shelf, because that's what you do when you sell advocacy and information. And I was telling the story earlier today. We were doing board orientation that you went through before and for the state board, and we were talking to him today about relationships. And relationships are the key with all this, because what you guys talk about is you're building a more effective community that supports what it is you need in running your business. And that's how we look at this. We look at this through the prism of, does it align with our mission? Does it align with the things that our board has directed us to do? And then the third thing is, how can we afford to put it together? And a lot of times we'll go back to the board and say, hey, we didn't budget for this, but we need to be able to do this. And we put in contingency dollars, and we look at things like that, because it's a matter of, we're running what we hope is a transparent business with accountability, and we treat it like it runs, even though it's tax exempt, as a for-profit business, because that's how everybody gets paid. We don't get paid in percentages, we get paid in dollars. And as Pam and I were talking about earlier today with our new directors, when January 1st rolls around, our revenue for this year is 0. Just like your restaurant, we start at 0, and I know that somewhere this year between our self-insured fund and the Ed Foundation and the LRA, I got to go find $18 or $19 million. And that's tough to do in this environment. But last year, post-COVID set a record, 190 new members. Thank you, guys. And we achieved our dues budget and exceeded it for this year. Wasn't a whole lot, but it's a hell of a lot better than it's been, right, Pam? So just little things, quick synapse, and just step away. Get a phone call from the NRA team that they were really worried about a couple of things that were in the One Big Beautiful Bill. One of the things is 45B tax. Any of you that pays the FICA tax on tips and matches it, use it as tax credit, they were using that as a pay for. That was going to go away. Employee meals, shift meals, they were going to become taxable, and you were going to have to report it every month to your employees as to what you gave them. So we sat down and said, well, as luck would have it, we're hosting a lunch for Steve Scalise for the legislature today at the House. So when Steve's chief of staff got there, we sat down with Megan, and I said, Megan, I got to talk to you about 4 or 5 things that are really concerning to us, that I know you guys think that you're helping us with a lot of things like no tax on tips, but that helps the worker. That doesn't really help the owner very much. And no tax on overtime helps the employee, doesn't help the business. So we explained it, and she goes, we got to talk to the tax guys. So we bring the tax guys on, and we're sitting there talking around my iPhone. Brittany has a picture of it. And then lo and behold, we get Steve on the phone, get Steve ties in, and he goes, well, Stan's telling us it's got to be true, because they wouldn't tell us this if it weren't seriously important to them. And then we get Mike Johnson on the phone, and we get his tax writers on the phone. We talk about 45B, we talk about employee meals. I said, one of the things, and the funny thing is, for you guys that don't know, Mike Johnson was a waiter for us at NINFAS for 4 years, okay? And it's great. He still calls me boss when I see him, which is good, because he's still scared. That's what he told me when he came to the Capitol as a legislator. He goes, oh no, I already know him. He scares the shit out of me. And I'm like, no, Mike, it's just, you're good. But the key with all of this is that if we were starting at square one in that relationship, it would have been very hard to have credibility, but we've never let them down on any issue. And when they call us to help them raise money, or they call us for a reservation, or they call us for anything that they need for their campaign or their office or anything else, the answer is yes. What's the question? That's how we approach it. And that's how we build those relationships. And we build relationships across the aisle. We look at it, Will tell you that one of the things we talk about is that we try to help everybody in the Capitol figure out a way that they can vote for things for our industry, because we have restaurants in every district in the state. We have 105 House districts. We have restaurants in 105 of those districts. And we want them to look at this, because we explain to them, you know what? You don't have a ball team without us. You don't have a charitable event without us. You don't get gift cards to give away for your raffle without us. We're those people, and we're not looking at it, what does this do to my margin? We just do it. We give food, we give love, we give our talent and our treasure, and that's what makes the big difference. And that's really what the LRA is all about. Because if you had to do something tangibly every time that happened, every time we ask somebody to come and sit with us at the Capitol and give testimony, those of you who have done that, it's a heady thing. You're not used to doing that in your business. I can tell you a great story about Megan and Kevin Kimball. They came to talk about getting rid of tip wage, and they did such a good job talking about how important it was and the tip credit was that they damn near talked him into voting against it. And then they talked him into voting for it. And I'm in D.C. with public affairs, and I'm sending texts to Kevin, shut up and get away from the table. Because we're in the business of making people happy. And I'm like, don't make your enemy happy, right? And so Megan goes, how do we do? You did great for a while. And then you flipped over to the other side, but then we rescued you back. So that's
Kevin was a little worse than I was.
Kevin was far worse than you. He was going to give it all, because Kevin looks at that building and everybody was uncle this and aunt that,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because he
that's
grew
right,
up in
that's
there. But that's the key to this. And if we didn't have the PAC, and we didn't have the ability to do events, and you guys contribute to the PAC, and you guys give us the foundation of the money that we give to the foundation, those are dollars we use to change the image of the restaurant industry. Because every one of us sees ourselves as those kids. Every one of us sees how we started and where we are today. So that's the difference. I mean, a lot of it's not done in the dark. It's just not something that we can put in a newsletter. It's not something that we can talk about every time.
Dude, thank you. All right, Brittany gave me the look. We got to wrap this up. So, last quick question, because I can't leave you two out. You guys, y'all are my tribe, right? But after hearing what Steven said, he's not even in this room right now. But after hearing Steven speak and then having you guys speak, I didn't realize that we're a lot more connected than I thought. To me, when you're on a team, you're like, dude, my team only, right? But I forget that we're a part of a larger team. So, for the members in this room, on the chapter level, what can they expect from us when they join? Besides the relationships, besides the people who you can lean on, right? What else can they expect?
So I don't know exactly where you're going, so I'm just going to start rambling, and you say, Megan,
What are all
you're
the
way
positives?
not
What
there.
are the
So
positives that they can
here's what
expect?
I'm going to say. Growing up in this industry in a corporate setting where there's 700 restaurants across the country, and we have legal on staff that eventually became the NRA president, and we have unbelievable talent, and of course we have to figure, we have to, because when you're in a corporate company, health laws in one state apply to the whole country, right? When I left that, or when I came to Ruffino's, and it's like, how did I know this? How do I get this information? How do I know that laws are changing? Or, oh my God, I've got an employee issue and I need to call an attorney and I don't have one on retainer and I'm getting ready to pay crazy amount of money. The LRA has an attorney. I paid for my dues with one phone call with Michelle. I called Stan Harris and said, I'm in a nightmare situation with the linen contract. You got to help me. Ruffin told me you're my answer. He's like, well, yep, let's talk. And Stan guided me through the whole thing. St. George is a new city, and they decide they're going to change the liquor ordinances, and it's going to go to a conditional use. And I thought, holy crap, this is going to change the dynamics of this building, because I need to worry about the building because we own the property, and I need to worry about the business, and it's going to change the dynamics. And I picked up the phone and I called Stan and said, here's my problem. I need help. And so Stan educated me. It wasn't just, here's what you need to do. He taught me what I needed to do to go fight, not just for me, but to fight for the whole St. George community. I don't know where I would have gotten that information without the LRA. When I was at Baton Rouge and I was so excited for John, my husband, to meet Brad, and Brad's like, oh, hi, John, I'm the asshole in Megan's life. And John goes, well, great. Now she's got one in her personal life and she's got one in her business life. So I've got two assholes in my life that keep me on track. So sometimes I call Brad and go, I don't know, and he's my reality check real fast. Or sometimes I call Aaron Gazzardo and go, can I just cry with you? Because you're a female in this business and you get it, and I need to cry really hard. And she goes, cry, sister, cry. And you and I are going to support each other. There's just, it's my tribe. It's my answer. I don't know, who do I call? I call Pam, I call Wendy, I call Stan, I call anyone in this room. I call my vendor. I don't know where I would get this information if I didn't have the LRA.
Perfect answer. Brad, dude, make it quick, dude. We got to eat dinner.
I'll wrap it up real quick. I'll say the same thing that I said at our last board meeting for those of you that were there. I've been doing this now since I was 19, and this is the toughest this has ever been. Wages are through the roof. The price of everything is through the roof. The red tape we have to cut through with, new restrictions and everything. It's just as tough as it's ever been. So to what Megan said, Octavio said it also, we're in competition with each other, but we also are friends and colleagues and all in the same industry fighting the same fight. If you leave this dinner and you don't have all of our email addresses or telephone numbers, get them. You need somebody to lean on. I don't care what part of the industry you're in. That's what this is about. And I'm not trying to, make a sales pitch or, be disingenuous. I'm saying that's what you get out of this. This is why you pay your dues. This is why you're at this dinner tonight. We all need a little help navigating these waters these days.
And we're going to do it together.
And let's do it together.
Let's do it together.
Thanks everybody for coming tonight. Really special for us.
Yes.
Guys, thank you all so much for being on this panel tonight. It's the first time doing it. I don't think it will be our last time doing it. That was a lot of fun for me, for sure. I learned a lot from you guys. Brad's coming up next. He's going to introduce Octavio formally, and then he's going to do the board installation ceremony.
That'll be after the entree.
After the entree.